I'm an assistant professional, I'm a PGA member, I work over at Indian Valley. I played college golf too, so we're actually going to talk a little bit about my experiences coming over from Australia, playing at USC Aiken, which was the #1 Division II, and it's a perennial powerhouse. I was there for a couple of years before transferring to Lenore Ryan University, which is just outside of Charlotte. I didn't follow Chris's advice. I went to a school that was loaded with junior college All-Americans and great recruits, and to be honest, I played 4 tournaments in 2 years. I was not making the traveling team. So I wanted to transfer, and I did. I found a school that I could play at, that I could walk in, play #1 or 2, go to every tournament, and give myself a chance of turning professional, which is what I had set out to do by coming over to the United States. But that's, again, you're going to hear that. You're going to hear that from Mac as well. Go somewhere where you can play. It's not a lot of fun sitting on the sidelines, watching your friends, and believe me, your teammates become your best friends. Watching them go away every week, and you're stuck at home practicing by yourself. Go somewhere where you can play. It's the #1 piece of advice that I think that you should take away from today. So, and then we're going to talk a little bit too about my girls and what they do at Delaware. It's a new program. We're just getting into it. And I'll sort of show you the differences between what really a top program in the country is and some D3 programs, and obviously weather becomes a big part. It depends on the academics of the school, there's class structure and stuff like that, and we'll go over that as well. And then at the end we can do a little bit of Q&A. And if you can't hear me, let me know and I'll grab the mic. So here we go. Now this is just a little bit of humor to start with, okay? So this is kind of like, maybe you got a perception of college golf, like you're flying around in private jets and you're off to Hawaii, and, you know, everything's great, and golf in the sun and national championships and all of that. Well, here's what it's really like, okay? You're in a van all the time. If you're traveling, you live in a van, okay? You're cramped in a conversion van or a you know, those 10-seaters. You do a lot of late night study, okay? You sleep in motel rooms, and if your coach is cheap, like my coach was, he gets cots instead of getting extra rooms. So whoever shot the highest score gets the cot for the night. Not good when you're 6'3", and well, back in the day I was 240. I'm a little bit fatter now, but... And then I couldn't find any heartbreaking college photos, so I put a heartbreaking Greg Norman there. There's a lot of heartbreak, you know. And then you've got your coach down here, basically harassing you on the course and telling you what to do, okay? And so just a little bit of humor to start with. So I did find this video online, and actually, it's a little bit long. It's about 6 minutes long, but it's really good. It's shot by a kid at Guilford College. Guilford is one of the best Division III programs in the country. And there was a few of them online, but I thought this one was really good. It really did sort of touch on everything. The class, you saw what time they got up, you saw the kind of workouts they were doing. You know, that is #1 thing. I kind of messed those slides up. That, you see I've got it underlined there, is sacrifice. And that's what being a student athlete really means. We got up, my second college, we had to get up 3 days a week and go swimming. Now I swam in high school, that was great for me, because I couldn't run around a pool, but I could certainly swim in one. But still, it was 6 a.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And we had practice 2 to 6 in the afternoon. So, I mean, coaches, like I said, coaches routinely make you get up for pre-dawn workouts. You've still got 5 to 6 hours a day at the course. Your tournaments, for the most part, depending on where you go, tournaments are generally on the weekend. Maybe Saturday, but normally a Sunday, leave early Sunday, practice round in the afternoon, tournaments Monday, Tuesday. So you miss out on football games, you miss out on parties, you miss out on homecomings, all that stuff. You know, you might have to leave at 5. I left campus at 3 in the morning on a Sunday morning, so that didn't leave me much time for homecoming weekend, you know. After your classes and your study, you live and breathe. You live with your team. You saw that they room together. Generally, they room athletes together. You'll generally be roomed with your teammates. If you are on campus most of the time, once you've been there a couple of years, You're going to move off campus maybe. You're going to live with your teammates. That's just the way it goes. And the thing with your academics, your coach is not your academic counselor. Okay? He wants you to do well in school. He has GPA guidelines and compliance issues, but he will not. There is no way, and especially in recent years with all the academic crackdowns and stuff in the NCAA, he will not get you any exemptions. Don't think because you're a student athlete you just cruise through. You still, and certainly not golf. Golf is down here when it comes to student athletes. Okay, football. You might have tutors in football. They're not going to put out the resources for golf unless you're at Georgia Tech or something like that. Okay, so he will not get you any exemptions. And learn to like night classes because you'll be taking a lot of them because most of your day is spent either working out or on the golf course. So I just want to pop back. But this is the good side. Okay, this is some of the courses that I played out in college. Harbour Town, Augusta National, Doral, Secession, Palmetto Golf Club is our home club, Atlanta Athletic, East Lakes in Atlanta, it's Bobby Jones' home course, Pinehurst, Charlotte Country Club. There are loads and loads more. But that was just a sampling, Quail Hollow, you know, of the kind of places that host college tournaments. You know, around here, most of the time, like Chestnut Hill, my boss Joey Pohl is the assistant coach over at Chestnut Hill. We host the Griffin Invitation in Indian Valley every year. You know, I know that Waynesboro hosts college tournaments. I'm trying to think of who else does. You know, I know that Gary over at Doylestown has hosted a college tournament. Sawkins hosted college tournaments. I think they've even played at Lookaway. So there's loads of opportunities to play some of the great courses. My girls next semester, they're playing at Lehigh Country Club, which is a top 100 course. They're playing at Hershey Country Club. They're playing Indian Valley, St. David's, Old Stonewall, and that's 5 private clubs, okay, all ranked in the top 50 in Pennsylvania, and Lehigh's in the top 100 in the country. It's a great opportunity to play some fantastic courses, okay? The most important part, though, is, again, your academics, okay? You are student athletes, not athlete students. I think everybody needs to realize that, okay? You'll generally have to take your classes in the morning. You'll have to do the 8 a.m., 8 to 9, 9:30 to 11, because your coach is going to want you at the course at 2 o'clock. He's not going to, or she, I should say, is not going to be real happy if you turn up and you start your sophomore year and you hand him a schedule and it has you in classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons. So you're always on the go. That's the one thing. A lot of athletic departments require mandatory study halls, especially for freshmen, so they can keep their GPA in compliance and their core courses up. Okay, in season, your coach can schedule practice up to 20 hours a week. Now, that's with him there. We spent way more time, especially when I was at Aiken, at the course than 20 hours a week. We did a lot on our own and stuff like that. They get around at 2, you're gonna see, I've got my schedules up here. They get around it by, the coach only turns up for 3 hours or something like that. So you have to, you know, if practice is for 3 hours, then he expects you to go out and play, but that's not really official. So during the off season, you can get scheduled strength, flexibility training, stuff like that, up to 8 hours a week, and you can do 2 hours a week per individual for skills sessions. My girls, I ask them to come out and do an individual lesson with me for an hour every 2 weeks in the off season, so twice a month. Depends on your coach too. A lot of coaches aren't professionals, but they may have been good amateurs, so you've got stuff to learn from them. Some coaches might have been the basketball coach for 40 years and then decided to leave that. It was a bit too hectic, but they'll roll into golf and they'll take it over for a few years. So it depends on your coach, and that again goes to picking your college, picking what's right for you. Do you want a guy like me who has a 12-month facility, you know, and can coach you year-round and has played professionally, has played college, or do you want to work on your own game? You've already got a coach. You want to stay with your swing coach. You want to stay local. It all comes down to finding the right fit of school for you. Okay, when you travel, if you're on the traveling team, like I said, you normally leave Sunday afternoon. Sometimes you might leave and be gone for a week. It depends. Okay, so you're only gone 3 to 4 days. Early departures and late returns are they're common, so bring a pillow. That's my advice. The vans aren't that comfortable. Pillows help. Drug tests, compliance meetings, academic reviews, rules seminars, one-on-one player development, team meetings. Every week you've got something on the agenda. Rules sessions. Chris Roselle can probably tell you they're a lot of fun. Even from a professional, I try to avoid them as much as I can these days. So sleep and rest, guys. It's college, I understand. You're going to want to experience the social side of it, the fun side of it, but in season, you need to get your sleep when you can. If you're burning out, you won't be making the team. Let me tell you, because the other guys, they are sleeping. Okay, here's the academic requirements for Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. Division 1, you need 40% of your coursework completed by the end of your second year. 60% by the end of your third year. Are you doing this, Matt? Are you doing the academic requirements? Okay. And 80% by the end of the fourth. You're also subject to the academic progress rate. Okay? That measures the team's progress by assigning points to each individual student for your remaining eligibility. Division 2, you need to do 24 hours and 24 credits a year. 6 of those credits may be used in summer, but you've got to get 18 of those in during the year. Okay, you need a 1.8 GPA after 24 credits, a 1.9 after 48, and a 2.0 after 72. And that sounds low, because you're in high school and I hope everybody has 3.5s or above. But let me tell you, college classwork is harder. And it takes, and you don't have as much time, especially if you're playing sports. So it's not that hard to get a 2.0, believe me, but there are times when you're going to be like, wow, high school was so much easier. As hard as you think it might be now, high school is not as hard as college, and there's a reason for that. Division 3, there are no minimum standards for academic eligibility, although the student athletes, you must remain in good academic standing with your school, okay? You've got to be enrolled at least 12 hours a semester, or whatever the institution determines as full time. Most of the time that is 12 hours, it's never less. It might be 15, in some cases a very, very tough academic place. Okay, this is my schedule when I was at USC Aiken. I put just the golf up here because class for me was basically 8 to 1 every day. I don't think I had class on Fridays, especially after my first semester in my freshman year, because I realized that I didn't want my advisor to schedule everything, that I could get 3-day weekends, and I'd do it myself. You'll figure that out when you get to college. So we would go to Woodside for short game on Mondays. That's it. That's all we would do. Video was there. We would practice. There would be stations set up. 2 of us would go to the bunker, 2 of us here, 2 of us there. 4 hours on a Monday. Tuesday, we'd be on the range for 3 hours. Now we had a double-sided range at Woodside, so we had a private area for our team. We had everything down there. Back in 2001, 2002, that was basically using, what's the name of that technology? It was a video technology. It certainly wasn't V1. It certainly wasn't TrackMan or FlightScope or anything like that. It was just basically a big box. You sat on and you could look at your swing. And we would work with that. And our coach would be there, and he'd give us a private lesson. We worked with a guy called Jimmy Tidwell, who's a top 100 teacher in the country. Jimmy would come along if somebody wanted to ask certain questions, etc. We would play on Wednesday. We'd always go and play afterwards. Now, Woodside was really great for us because they'd let us take carts. A lot of the time, courses won't let college kids take the carts because it's no revenue, basically. Woodside would let us, and we could play 18 in 2.5 hours because there was no one out there. So we'd fly around and get back to school and try to make the dining hall before it closed. Wednesday, we'd play 18 holes at Hounds Lake as a team. Thursday, again, we'd be back on the range, same thing over at Woodside as we did Tuesday. Fridays, we're generally qualifying at Palmetto, 18 holes. When I was at Lenore Ryan, we did it a little differently. We did qualifying on Tuesday and Thursdays, although most of this stuff was fairly similar. maybe the short game changed and stuff like that. Saturday we always had the day off. Generally though, most of my team, we used to go play the money matches with the Woodside members and try to make ourselves some money because we're all poor college students. So, you know, you go try to, kind of hustle the members and stuff like that. Sunday, that's against NCAA regulations, by the way. Yes. Sunday was an optional play again with members, and that was more like if you had met some members at one of the clubs. I put Palmetto there, but it may have been Woodside, Houndsleg, it might have been Sage Valley, depending on what we got. It was a way to get connections. If you wanted to do an internship, that is a great thing about golf, and a great thing about college golf is the fact that a lot of coaches and a lot of have set up places with private clubs, and members of private clubs are generally pretty successful people. They can open some doors for you. So if you're articulate and you're confident and you're outgoing, you could find yourself with a good internship, which may lead to a great job after college. Because let me tell you, playing for money after school, you're not going to make a lot of it unless you're on the PGA Tour or the LPGA. Okay, this is my girls now at Delaware. Now our academic schedule's a little different, so it was a bit hard for me to schedule practice with the girls because of the way their schedules are set up. This was our first semester just passed. I don't have any of the advisors sort of on board yet in terms of the fact that golf needs a lot more time than a lot of the other sports. Volleyball practice might only last an hour and a half, and that can easily be done at 8 o'clock at night. While we don't have a lit range to go to, nor do I really want a kid, nor is my wife going to be like, please, go to the range for 3 hours, 3 nights a week when I've got a 6-month-old. So, we do 9 holes on Monday afternoons. That should actually be 5 to 7 p.m. because my girls don't get out of school till 4:15. Over at the Bucks Club. Tuesdays, 5 to 7, we're at Indian Valley. Because I'm generally working. So their class schedules were just, I couldn't get anything on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Or Fridays, really. Only one girl had Fridays off. We do an optional practice over at Five Ponds. And I left a logbook there so they could log in. Only my captain ever goes, so it only just says her name, there's all ticks down it, the other girls are all blank. Saturdays, same thing, and Sunday we have practice over at Indian Valley. It's normally 9 holes, or sometimes I'll do half an hour lesson each, put them on the V1, put them on the launch monitor, figure out what's going on. I require them to do 3 workouts, an hour each week. My captain, Becky, they email her when they've worked out. And like I said, they come in twice a month for a lesson in the off-season now. If I just flick back, I forgot to talk to you. While we're at Aiken, we did the logbook style. That's where I got it from. And we were required to do 3 1.5-hour workouts each week. And then we had flexibility training as well. We also were encouraged to go to physical therapy. You have student athletes have access to the training department, the athletic training department, hot and cold therapy, ultrasound machines. When you're a golfer, you're playing a lot of golf, you can get knots in your back, you need to stretch. It's very important. We were encouraged to use that, and we did. Lying on a tennis ball to get the knots out of my back. It's one of my great memories from college. Okay, now for my recruits as a coach, what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for hard-working players, okay? I don't need to recruit the best player. I want a player that wants to work, okay? Because I'm a good coach, and I'm a good pro, and I'm a good player. And I got a lot of experience, and I can make you better, okay? But I just want people that want to work. And that comes to the next one. No ego, okay? You are not better than me. You have not got as much experience as me. You might not have as much experience as my seniors. So I don't want anybody like that. When I'm interviewing girls, when I'm doing campus visits and stuff like that, don't bring an ego. And the guys too. Don't bring an ego, because most of the time your coaches are really, they'll normally have another, one of the team members there, one of the upperclassmen on your recruiting visits to talk to you, Ask you some questions. Coach, if his captain says, or his senior says, didn't like that, they were up themselves, gone. Okay. And then the major. Can my school fit your major? Okay. That's the number one thing, because let's be honest, 1% of all the college players in the country make it to the PGA or the LPGA Tour. Does anybody know how many college players are generally in the country at one time? It's about 12,000. So your study is everything, okay? Like Chris said, there's a lot of great programs, the PGM programs, you know, there's lots of good careers in golf other than playing, but really find a major that's going to grow you as a person and give you the best chance of success in the outside world. Okay, and we'll just, before that, here's a couple of photos I found actually. Just to highlight a little bit of the fun. That's at Hounds Lake, we were playing qualifying one day, and my mate Lee from Scotland, who's playing the Asian Tour now, jumped in the pond for no reason at all. That's the kind of good fun things you do as a team. That's us in Florida. Can't remember the course. That's me, believe it or not, on the edge. Like I said, a lot thinner back there. So, okay, we've got a few minutes. Anybody have any questions?
I just wanted to say, just touch on something that you had mentioned about rules. And as the tournament director, I do give a lot of rules seminars. And actually, we used to do a rules presentation as part of this event. But this year we had such a great turnout as far as our speakers are concerned, we kind of put that to the side. But the one thing I will say about the rules is when you go play college golf, unlike 99% of the golf that you play, which is all individually based. Obviously, you guys play for your high school teams, so there is a team aspect to that. But when you play college golf, you're playing as a team. You're there representing your college, and you're playing with your other teammates. So the better your rules knowledge is, the better off you're going to be. I've officiated at numerous college events, and the one thing that I do notice is the teams that generally come out on top, obviously they have some very good players, but the other thing that I notice is these players are not asking me for rulings all the time. They know the rules. And you'll be surprised, the more that you know the rules of golf, how much better that is going to be for your team, because again, you're out there competing as an individual, but for your team. And if you can save yourself a shot here or a shot there because you know the rules, that could be the difference between your team winning an event and losing an event. So again, I know the rules of golf can be very hard, it can be very dull a lot of times, but I've seen it in a lot of the events that I go officiate at. The better that you know the rules, it's only going to help your team, which again, in the end, you're playing for your team and your school.
And that is a good point, because I actually got DQ'd in a college event, and we were actually doing very good. Now, it wasn't the fact that I didn't know the rules. In fact, I actually called myself on something because I knew the rules. Let me tell you guys, it is not a fun conversation with your coach when he comes driving up 2 fairways later when you got to tell him you're out of the tournament and you're number 1 or 2 player. So all of a sudden, you might have to use number 5 score. So it does really help to know the rules. Anybody got any questions?
I saw in your slideshow that the girls in the D3 that don't have to qualify for it, you have qualified on yours.
I've only got 4 girls in my roster. So yeah, I've got a minimum number of girls, so I don't have qualifying yet. I am heavily recruiting right now, but yeah, I don't have any need for it, to be honest. But there will be in time. And a lot of the time, guys, with qualifying, a lot of the time, it might only be for 2 spots. Coach might have 3 seniors, or a really, really good sophomore, and 2 seniors or a junior senior that he is confident. He's had them for a year or 2 or 3. He knows they're going to perform. So the onus is on you to work your way into that team. And when, there's 8 guys going for 2 spots, it gets tough, it really does. That's why you got to go somewhere where you can really have a good chance of playing, because that's the fun experience of college golf. Yes, mate.
Talk a little bit about scholarship availability at the Division III level.
Mac's actually going to cover all of that stuff, and sort of like this Division III, it's grants. There are no athletic scholarships available. My school is merit-based grants. When I'm recruiting, it's primarily GPA-based. So the better the GPA and the SAT score, the more money my school, and I know how much can offer. I have a program that I can punch their numbers in. I can tell them how much in grants, and I can get kids up to $24,000 a year at a $31,000 a year school. So based on their academics, but that's Division III. But I'm sure Mac's going to go over a lot of that in 2 and 1 as well. So.
I understand it's wise to have a couple, 3 visits to if your college is of choice.
Yes.
But on the first visit, how much information should that student have to bring with he or she, assuming that on that first visit they're going to get a college tour and potentially meet with a college coach? What would you expect them to bring?
I would hope that I've already got a lot of information on them to start with because of what's available, stuff like the junior golf scoreboard. But I would have a hard copy of my resume. I would have, be prepared is the main thing. Transcripts if needed. Anything that you can show. Letters of recommendation. But the main thing, be full of questions. And don't be uncomfortable about asking questions about anything, even about if like the food tastes good. Like anything you want to know. And even being a coach, I'm trying to sell you on my program. Okay, and that's number one. And when you start getting up the chain, up into the top D1 and top D2 schools, they're trying to sell you on their program. They might say, we have access to 5 private clubs. Okay, don't just take that at face value. Ask exactly when do we have access? What's our practice time? What's our availability? It might turn out that you have access 1 day a month. So you got to go in depth. Don't just